morning. We are no mai up your mai. Now you, Ron and I, have been talking all about change.
Yes, and our next wonderful guest knows all about change. She became a founding member of the grassroots climate change movement 350 Samoa, and also a leader of the environmental group Future Rush, which have rallied youth and communities alike in Samoa and also the wider Pacific region.
Whoa! At 17, she was chosen by the Secretariat of the Pacific Regional Environmental Program as their first ever youth ambassador in recognition of her achievements to conserve the Pacific environment.
Yep, and she continues to develop and strengthen the voice of young people in the Pacific on the key issues of environment and climate change. Aotearoa, this is Pacific Treaty Champion, Le Whionga Yasuruwafi, Brianna Fruean.
Ooh!
It can be frustrating when you're seeing something that no one else wants to open their eyes to.
Islands are flooded and more flash floods and mudslides.
We can see the climate crisis. Why can't anyone else? My name is Brianna Fruean. I'm a climate activist and I'm from the island of Samoa. I grew up around Apia, but my families are from Kuamua, Falelima, Lepa, and also from Whakaofu and Tokelau. The first time I started getting interested in climate change was actually the first time I heard about it. So I learned about it in primary school, and my teacher said climate change is this thing that could mean an island like Tokelau will drown in 50 years. And that statement alone scared me so much, but also motivated me so much to do something about it.
And she continues to motivate us all here with us, Uluwafi. Brianna Fruean, thank you so much, sis, for joining us. O mai.
Manu e whawhitai. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure and an honour. Of course, last time I saw you, we were singing with the boys a bit of a farewell song to you on 42nd Street in New York City. But we'll get to that a bit more later. Right now, I want to talk about what you champion and what you have been all about from the beginning to the end. I think from as young as 11, you've been speaking about it and speaking up about it as well. How much of climate change have you seen from your line of work? How much has it affected our people in the Pacific?
It's such an everyday reality for our people in the islands. I mean, even when I was growing up in Samoa, just seeing the more frequent floods, the cyclones being more intense by each year, the droughts that our farmers really struggle with, and then like the coral bleaching of our shores.
So it's quite a dire issue for a lot of us, and not just one of us in the Pacifica. So why is it so important that such a thing as climate change is something that we need to now stand up together and I guess approach as a collective? How important is that?
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing about climate change, it's that it will not discriminate against anyone. Climate change is not pick and choosing who it will impact. Yes, it's impacting the Pacific first, but right after we left, Ronnie, like the streets of New York that we were walking on got flooded. Yeah. Like the people that we were saying hi to in the morning were suffering from the climate crisis too. And so it's everyone's problem, which means it's everyone's responsibility.
That's right, absolutely. That's what really shocked me, is coming back and then literally a day later to see what Lower Manhattan, Upper Manhattan were going through. I guess it just brings the message home even more. And of course, you're a Pacific Treaty champion yourself, which of course you're also championing the non-proliferation fossil fuel treaty. For our friends at home, could you tell us more about that, Brianna?
Yeah, the word non-proliferation is a really fancy word of saying like committing to no longer purchasing or attaining. So to have a fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty is for countries to promise that they will no longer drill for oil. They will no longer try and extract coal and gas that's harming our environment.
Absolutely, and it's causing great harm across, we spoke about it earlier today in the show as well. Now, for all of us, I guess, who are seeing the issues and the way they affect our families in the Pacific and here in Aotearoa, how can we help? How can we be of service to this wonderful kaupapa?
I think the first thing you can do is forgive yourself for what you haven't done yet. I think sometimes we come into the movement a little bit like, oh, I don't really know much, or I haven't done anything. Like, if we can get over that, forgive ourselves. You don't know what you don't know, and therefore what you need to do now is get to know more. So educate yourselves. The best thing you can do, like first step, is reading. If you don't like reading, watching TikTok, having a look at the hashtag climate change on TikTok. There's a lot of great climate communicators out there, and just get amongst the information, because education really is power.
Absolutely, and I love that you are all about that, and you continue to be about that, because it also introduces you to others who are speaking the same message, calling for the same action as well. I just want to take it back to our New York trip. I think one of my favorite memories I just want to share with you is this little photo here, where to me it pretty much personified everything about climate change. And Brianna, we were just walking down the street, and boom, gust of wind, umbrella gone, malu in her whaamalu. What has been some of your highlights from New York and from Climate Week as well, Brianna?
Man, you know, my favorite highlight was just hanging out with you, Ronnie, hanging out with like the boys, Bonnie, and all the islanders that were there. Like, to see us, right? And we had to talk about this, Ronnie, about like us growing up in Samoa. Who knew what would take us to New York? And the fact that we get to go to New York because we're fighting for our islands, like what a privilege that was to stand amongst like other Pacific Islanders who don't think that we're small. Like, we weren't walking down those streets in New York like minimizing ourselves, like, oh, we're just from small islands. Like, we were like walking proudly. Like, one of the boys was playing our island beats on the speaker. We were having our Samoan flags in the street. We were repping our homes with pride, knowing that what we were doing there was important, and that was a highlight for me.
Oh, thank you. And honestly, our highlight is having you on the show to reiterate once again the importance of why we should put an end to fossil fuels and the importance of a treaty in the Pacific as well. But Suluafi, Brianna Fruean, everybody, thank you so much for joining us in the feed whare. Don't go anywhere, because we still got a recap of what happened in September, courtesy of myself and the wonderful new co-host of the feed, Brianna Fruean. Yeah, have a look.
La 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 la. Yo.
So for Manuia, warm Pacific greetings from the Big Apple. Ronnie Taurafo here.
Tuluafi Brianna Fruean here.
And we are your
Pacific Treaty Champions.
It's time to buckle up as we dive headfirst into the whirlwind that was the New York Climate Week throughout September.
Yes, this month has been a roller coaster of action, from electrifying marches to game-changing declarations, all in the name of ending the era of fossil fuels.
Now picture this. Over 500,000 people from every continent of the globe hit the streets with a singular mission, demanding world leaders to slam the brakes on fossil fuels. The energy was electrifying, the message was loud and clear. Change is not just coming, it's here.
In the halls of the UN General Assembly and at the UNSG's Climate Ambition Summit, we didn't just make an entrance, we made a statement. The Fossil Fuel Treaty Initiative was pushed to the forefront of the debate, with prime ministers, governors, and civil society uniting in a common message. The climate crisis is a fossil fuel crisis. The governments of Tuvalu and Vanuatu hosted a high-level dialogue discussing how a fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty could be negotiated and what this would look like. Crucial steps towards ending the era of fossil fuels.
All throughout New York Climate Week, champions of this initiative spotlighted the push for a global just transition. One standout moment was our panel on safeguarding the Amazon, where Indigenous people, civil society, and ministers shed light on the critical need for a fossil fuel treaty to preserve this invaluable lifeblood of our planet.
We took it a step further, gathering our network at the Treaty Town Hall. We talked synergies, we talked demands, and most importantly, we talked action. Paintbrushes in hand, young people also gathered to connect and use their creativity to express the need for climate action. Then, we celebrated the unstoppable momentum from the week.
Concluding the week was the Global Citizen Festival, where Antigua and Barbuda and Timor-Leste took center stage in front of a roaring crowd of 50,000 people, announcing their historic support for the Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty. Now, 8 nation-states in 3 continents have called for this exciting new proposal. All these events were at the very heartbeat of New York Climate Week.
From the streets to the assemblies, from passionate discussions to historic endorsements, all of these moments bringing us this much closer to a world free from fossil fuels.
Yep, so get ready, because we're only getting started. Whaftai Lover, thank you for coming along for the ride. Once again, I'm Ronnie Taurafo.
And I'm Suluafi Brianna Fruean, signing off from
New York City.
Yo, one night, New York City, heard it going down. Friday night, midnight, Atlantic City, slash machines, ding, 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 when they